Hello, good morning. Buongiorno tutti. My name is Michael Garay, and I'm going to talk about the work that I do at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I apologize, my presentation is in English. My Italian is not very good, but I'm very excited to present to all of you this morning. For me, it's this morning. I guess it's for you this afternoon. So the title of my talk is Tracking COVID-19 from Space, What We Can and Cannot Do and Why It Matters. And as Sandro mentioned, my name is Michael Garay. I work at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory for NASA in Pasadena, California. So my slides will have Italian on them, so you can follow along, but I will continue to speak in English. So thank you to Sandro for translating these things for me. So I'm sure that they're all wonderfully translated. So here is what we do at NASA. We study the Earth. We have many, many satellites in space, and they're all doing various different things. And one of the instruments that I work on is it's a new mission. It's called MAIA, which stands for Multi-Angle Imager for Aerosols. And it's a little satellite, and the way that it works is it looks at the Earth from different directions. So here it shows 5 different directions. We have targets on the ground. So this is Los Angeles or Southern California, where I am. And by making measurements and taking pictures from different directions, we can figure out what's going on in the atmosphere and what's going on at the surface below. And so this is gonna tell us in the future what is going on in the atmosphere and how that affects people's health. And there's different targets on the globe. So Southern California is one, and another place that we're going to look at is Italy. So we have collaborators in Italy who are working with us on this mission. And in the next few years, this satellite should launch into space. So I wanted to give you kind of a background about what we can do from space, what NASA does from space. So here's a picture from Italy. So this is showing the whole country of Italy. That should be familiar. And this is from an instrument called MODIS that flies on one of NASA's satellites. And you can see this is a very typical image. You see the land, you see the water, you see clouds and snow here in the mountains, and you also see a lot of snow up here in the mountains. But this is the kind of things that we can see from space. But you notice we don't see roads, we don't see cars, we don't see people. So we're not very, very high, what they say, very, very high resolution. This is a global satellite data, so it works on the whole globe. So we're interested in covering the Earth basically every day and seeing what the land and the water look like. At night, we can also look at the world, and now we see different things. And so this is Italy at night, and this is from a different instrument called VIRS, which is on a different satellite. And here it's showing the city lights, and it's showing some reflected moonlight, so that's why you can see the brightness over the water. And you see the different cities. So you see Napoli, you see Roma, you see Milano and Torino and Firenze here. So this actually lets us see much more clearly where the people are and what people are doing. So you can even see the roads because there's lights along the roads at night. Another thing that we can do, so here's Italy again during the daytime, is we have algorithms that are designed on the computer that calculate how much particles are in the atmosphere, something we call aerosol optical depth. And the more aerosols in the atmosphere, the darker the color. So the very light colors mean there's very little aerosol, and the darker colors mean there's more aerosol. And aerosol is, you can think of it as pollution. It's all of the pollution in the atmosphere from the surface all the way to the top. And aerosol optical depth is something we also measure from the ground using Aeronet instruments, which is something that may be familiar to those of you who are involved in the GLOBE program. Another thing we can do from space is we can measure gases. And so this is from an instrument from a European instrument called Tracciamento. And this is on the same day, and it's looking at something called nitrogen dioxide. And nitrogen dioxide is an air pollutant that's emitted by cars, and it's emitted by fossil fuel combustion. So in this picture, you can see that there's a lot more NO2 in northern Italy because there's a lot of industry there. So you can actually pick out the cities, so Napoli and Roma and Firenze. You can pick out the cities, and you can see that not only does it happen in the cities, but it also gets transported by the wind. but it doesn't get transported very far. So it lets us see much more clearly where this is made. So there have been a lot of headlines about the lockdown due to coronavirus or due to COVID-19, particularly in Italy. And so Sandro translated this headline here, but the important thing is that the satellites are seeing dramatic drops in the amount of pollution due to the fact that you're not going to school and you're not driving as much because you're supposed to be staying at home. Just like in Southern California, we're in the same situation. So I think a lot of us are in the same situation here. So one of the things that people have put together, they put together this image comparing January of this year to early March of this year. And this is the same image that I showed before. These are from Tracciamento, which is the instrument on the Sentinel-5P satellite. And the red colors mean that there's high amounts, large amounts of NO2, a gas in the atmosphere that's caused by pollution, that's caused by factories and caused by cars. You can see there's a lot less of this in early March. And this is very impressive changes. And you can see all over Italy, there's been changes. Even along the coast, there's been changes in the amount of this pollutant in the atmosphere. And people are very excited because they feel like this is a positive thing that has come out of the lockdown due to the coronavirus. But as Da Vinci says, all our knowledge has its origins in our perceptions. So we look at the world and we try to understand what's happening. So we can ask ourselves, is this true what we see from space? So again, here's the NO2. This is from February, and you can see the nitrogen dioxide. I showed this one before. And then here it is in April. And there's a lot of difference here. So there's much less difference. So does this prove that headline that I was showing? Well, we can look at other things besides just NO2. So here's a picture, just an image that I showed this one before, of Italy in February. And here's a picture from April. It's the same image. And here I see, when I look at this, I see many different things. I see there's less snow in the mountains, but I also see it's kind of hazy here. And this is due to smoke. And if I look very carefully over here in Bosnia and Herzegovina, I notice that there's a little white cloud here. And this is smoke that's being blown over Italy. And so what that's going to mean is that that's going to mean the air quality, the amount of particulates in the atmosphere are going to be higher, is what I guess, over Italy in April compared to February. So I can go to my retrieval, I can go to my optical depth map, and you notice that this is in February again, and I don't get retrievals where there's snow. But if I look in April, the colors are much warmer, they're much more red. So what that tells you is that there's much higher levels of particulates in the atmosphere on this day caused by smoke. And there's also higher levels of particulates up here in northern Italy near Milano. So the reason we care about this is because COVID-19 is a respiratory virus. It goes into your lungs. And there have been a number of studies that have shown that if your lungs are irritated by other pollutants, for example, nitrogen dioxide, which I showed, or by particulates, and very small particulates that are much smaller than a human hair, it can get deep into your lungs and make you not feel well. And the virus takes advantage of that and can actually make you much sicker if you're in a situation or you're in a place where the air quality is bad, either because of nitrogen dioxide or because of pollutants. And so this is why we're interested to track where the pollutants are and where the COVID-19 virus is, and try to understand better the relationships between air quality and human health, particularly due to the COVID-19 virus. And that's my presentation. I put my email here. If anybody has any questions, feel free to send me an email or send it through your teachers or whoever is facilitating this. And I thank you.